Hello there guys, and welcome to this weekend's live stream for IFMC IndyCar here on a Friday. Yes, on a Friday. I'm JWF1 and we are here at the Belle Isle Park in Detroit, Michigan for round 5 and 6 of the Season 4-5 IFMC IndyCar Championship, kicking off with the qualifying session here at Belle Isle Park. Yes, you may be wondering why is it on a Friday? Well, quite easy. We have, for the first time, like in real life with Belle Isle Park, we have two races. Race 1 being on the Saturday and race 2 being on the Sunday. Both of them consisting of 70 laps. The Saturday grid being determined by today's qualifying session, with the grid on Sunday being determined by the results of race 1, with the top 10 getting reversed. It should be a very interesting weekend. A lot of points on offer for this weekend. A maximum a driver can get this weekend is 102 points. So a lot of points there for drivers to get this weekend. So, bright and sunny conditions here at Belle Isle Park, and it should be a good one. It's the third road course of the season that we will be travelling to after the last 2 weekends were on ovals. And just a note for you, of course, Felix Rosenquist has a qualifying ban for causing a crash with Scott Dixon last weekend, so he will not be taking part in qualifying. So 21 cars will be taking part in this qualifying session, and it should be very interesting to see. It's been 3 weeks since we've been on a road course, but we're back here at Belle Isle Park, and the first time we'll be having 2 races around this track. So without further ado then guys, let's get to the qualifying session here at Belle Isle Park. So here we are then in the pit lane, and we're looking at Rosenquist, who's just watching as a spectator for today, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Tony Kanaan. So we'll wait and get this session underway. It is of course a 35-minute session, and let's wait and see who's going to be the first to get out onto the track here at Belle Isle Park. When we were last here last season, it was a dominant display when we only had the one solitary race, of course. It was a dominant display by Simon Pagenaud in the Silicon Valley racing car, and he'll be looking to try and repeat that this weekend in possibly both races as well. So that's that. But we've got some activity. That looks like a Fantari is going out, and it is the man who won last time out, Takuma Sato, coming out on the track. So Sato in the Fantari racing car coming out on the track. They have taken 3 out of the 4 pole positions this season. Can they get pole number 4 of the season? As Sato now then approaches turn number 3 on the track. We also have Joseph Newgarden out there for Target Andy Graham Racing. Helio Castroneves out on the track as well, as is JR Hildebrand, Robert Wickens, Max Chilton, Scott Dixon, Tony Kanaan, James Hinchcliffe. We'll be expecting Simon Pagenaud, Marco Andretti, Ryan Hunter-Ray to also join these guys out in a little bit, as we now look at Sato, who's now coming up towards the flat out left-hander, using as much of the outside as possible, as he now makes his way around this swooping right-hander into this left-hander. He goes, getting as close to the wall as possible, as he will now approach this double left-hander before approaching this hairpin. The third to last corner on the track. Sato now then heading down this straight now then before approaching the final 2 turns on the track. So if you can hear one of my dogs in the background, yes, I've got 2 dogs now for anybody wondering. As Sato now then coming around the final corner, and let's see what Takuma Sato can do now then, as he's now going to come across the line. And he's now going to start his lap, actually. I do apologise for that. He's not on a lap. But coming through turns 1 and 2. Very quick corners. Well, except for the second corner. The first corner is the second corner. You have to really slow it all the way down. Last season, of course, I think it was actually Simon Pagenaud as well. He was very lucky not to crash out of this race last season, where he clipped the wall at turn 2 at the start of the race. And was very, very lucky indeed to... what's the word I'm looking for? Was very, very lucky to not crash out of the race, and went on to win the race, of course. As we look at Sato now then, who's just going around these section of corners on the track, getting as close to the wall as possible, as he'll now make his way down towards the quick left and right-hander. He'll soon go, as Sato looking to see if he can get a good lap under his belt, of course. The man who took pole position the last 2 times. Of course, when we were last on a road course as well, Sato did appear to struggle, but whether that changes here at Detroit, we'll wait and see. He now makes his way around the hairpin now then, heading in towards the final 2 turns. He will go on the racetrack now then, and let's see what Takuma Sato can manage then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and Sato is about to set the benchmark of time across the line. Goes Taku. What's the time going to be? It is a 1 minute 17.386. Newgarden though beats him. Newgarden goes to the top of the timing sheets. It's P2 for Helio Castroneves, with that lap. J.R. Hildebrand slots to third, the championship leader P3, until that's beaten by Robert Wickens. He goes third. Max Chilton slots himself to third. Scott Dixon P2. Here comes Tony Kanaan. It's P7 for him. P2 for James Hinchcliffe. Ryan Hunter-Reay now then, he's just coming around the final 2 turns himself. Got E-Power's first ever podium last time out at the Texas Motor Speedway, but let's see what Hunter-Reay can manage this time by, as he's now going to cross the line. And Hunter-Reay, where's he going to place himself? He goes fastest for the moment, so Hunter-Reay goes to the top of the timing sheets. P4 for Will Power. Here comes Marco Andretti. It's only good enough for 9th for the moment. 4 for Simon Pagenaud. As I think that is it for these guys. So at the moment, it is currently Ryan Hunter-Reay fastest, with Joseph Newgarden second, and rounding out the top 3 at the moment is James Hinchcliffe. So that's how that looks at this stage at the moment. 13 cars have done a lap, and we'll be expecting another 8 to do a lap in a little bit. Of course, we have a qualifying ban in the form of Felix Rosenquist. So Rosenquist, of course, will not be taking part in this session, as Hinchcliffe just goes around the session of corners. As we will view Simon Pagenaud at this stage. He's currently 4th, just outside the top 3, so not a bad first flying lap. But Simon, of course, will want to try and improve on that if he can, as he now makes his way around the flat-out left-hander on the track, around this long sweeping right-hander, and then coming into another left he goes as he gets close to the wall on the outside. Around this double left-hander he goes before approaching the hairpin. This very quick medium speed hairpin, I should say. And as they now come in towards the final 2 turns on the track, these guys will be heading back into the pits this time by. There you go, Simon Pagenaud going to the right as he now comes into the pits. And so Pagenaud into his box now then, as we wait for another set of cars to come out onto the track. And so we will wait for them to get out there. And so far we've got some, well, I think we've actually got some pit activity now, as Gabby Chavez in the Macamo car is now coming out onto the track. It's been quite an up and down season for Macamo, it must be said. As coming out the pit lane there then comes Gabby Chavez, as he now just comes down towards turn 3 on the racetrack now then. And Chavez now then just going into these section of corners now then he goes, as he will try, as he's preparing himself to start his next flying lap now then. Also on the track his teammate Pietro Fittipaldi, so both Macamo cars getting out at the same time. Juan Pablo Montoya out there as well, as is Alexander Rossi. Joseph Newgarden will be expecting to come out as well. Fernando Alonso is coming out on the track, as we'll be expecting Max Chilton. Current pole sitter Ryan Hunter-Reay, J.R. Hildebrand, Graham Rahal, Helio Castroneves, and of course not Felix Rosenquist. We'll be expecting Ed Jones and Sebastian Bourdais to also join these guys as well. As we look at Chavez now then, he's approaching the final few turns on the racetrack now then. Chavez getting as close to the wall as possible, as he will approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. And Chavez now then about to start his lap in the Honda powered Macamo. And coming into this weekend, of course, in terms of the Manufacturers' Championship, it is very close indeed, with Chevrolet only having a 10-point advantage ahead of Honda. So this season, it's definitely very close in the Manufacturers' Championship. And so now into turn 2 now then, and Chavez hoping that EMR car doesn't hold him up there. That was Helio Castroneves, and Castroneves doesn't, but there's a risk Castroneves could get held up by Chavez on his next flying lap. But we'll wait and see on that. Chavez now then into turn number 3 now then on the track, using the curb on the outside. That's where Max Chilton had a little bit of an incident last season with someone. I can't quite remember who it was. As now through turn 4, sorry, turn 5, turn 6, and now he will come down towards the fast left-hander. I think he's also approaching the end of sector 2 on the racetrack, as Castroneves in fact is getting up close to him, so there's a chance that Castroneves could actually compromise Chavez's first flying lap here. But we'll wait and see as he makes his way around these final few turns on the racetrack now then. Through the double left-hander he goes, and in towards the final corner, and onto the straight he goes before approaching the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then. Let's see what Gabby Chavez can do then on his first flying lap. It doesn't look like Castroneves will get held up, but we'll wait and see on that. Chavez now then is going to cross the line. Can he get a good first flying lap in? Chavez across the line he goes, and it's only good enough for P11 at this stage. Castroneves starts another lap, as does championship leader J.R. Hildebrand. As Fittipaldi, did he just complete a lap there? I'm not 100% sure. He's currently 15th. at this stage. In fact, he did complete a lap, but it was only good enough for 15th place. Montoya goes 12th with that lap. Here comes Alexander Rossi. What can he manage? And he goes P5 with that lap, so finally getting some good pacing after struggling in the last 3 races, of course, losing valuable points in the Drivers' Championship to the point where now even his teammate Takuma Sato is currently beating him in the Drivers' Championship. Alonso now then comes down the straight. Last time we were on a road course, he was on pole. His teammate's currently on pole. Alonso crosses the line and only good enough for 9th for the moment. So P9 for Fernando Alonso. Here comes Graham Rahal now then across the line. He will go. What can Rahal manage? And he only goes 13th with that lap. Joseph Newgarden currently on the front row. Let's see what he can manage. And he goes fastest. So Newgarden goes to the top of the timing sheets. Newgarden fastest. His teammate could only manage 12th for that lap. So only P12 for Ed Jones. Still P10 for Max Chilton. He's doing a good job. Here comes Sebastian Bourdais. Still yet to get a point on the board. He crosses the line and he goes 9th fastest for the moment. So pushes Alonso down to 10th at this stage. Ryan Hunter-Reay doesn't get back to pole. He remains in 2nd at this stage. Helio Castroneves across the line he goes. And where's the EMR driver going to emerge? Still 8th at the moment. No improvement for the Brazilian. JR Hildebrand goes up to 11th, but still outside the top 10 is the current championship leader at this stage. As now we try and look at the... I think that's everybody done at the moment. So at the moment it is currently Joseph Newgarden fastest with Ryan Hunter-Reay in 2nd place. And rounding out the top 3 is... he's running out the top 3 at the moment. It is... I think it is... I can't remember who's actually running out the top 3. We'll probably have a look in a little bit when we get into pit lane. So Joseph Newgarden now then is coming around the final 2 turns on the racetrack now then. And he's now coming back into the pit. So we'll quickly have a look at the top 5 once he gets back into his garage slot. Newgarden back into the pits. And but as now Newgarden will come back into his box, and let's see what the rest of the pack currently looks like at this stage. And it is Newgarden from Hunter-Reay, Hinchcliffe, Pagenaud and Rossi. That's how the top 5 currently stands at this stage. As Will Power now comes out on the track for Eldorado. Anybody out in front of him? Yes. Simon Pagenaud for Silicon Valley Racing has gone out on the track. Currently P4 at the moment in this qualifying session. As Pagenaud now then will come up towards the quick left-hander on the track. And Pagenaud just flicking the car in through the corner. As he will now swoop around the right-hander now then. Into the next left he goes. And he will soon approach the final few turns on the racetrack. Pagenaud about to start another lap in a little bit now then. So far this season we've had 4 different winners. This season so far. The first race being won by Alexander Rossi. The second race being won by James Hinchcliffe. The third, JR Hildebrand. And the fourth being Takuma Sato at the moment. And so that he's won the first 4 races at the moment. As now Simon Pagenaud is about to start his next flying lap as mentioned. Will Power is out there as well for Eldorado. Tony Kanaan out there as well, as is James Hinchcliffe. Robert Wickens, Graham Rahal, as Takuma Sato just emerges on the track, as does Pietro Fittipaldi, Ed Jones, Fernando Alonso, Marco Andretti, Scott Dixon and Juan Pablo Montoya. Those guys are expected to come out in a little bit to start their next flying laps, as we go back to Simon Pagenaud, who luckily for him wasn't getting held up there by Takuma Sato, who was just coming out on the track as he goes around these quick section of corners now they're on the racetrack, heading down towards the flat out few corners on the track. And let's see what Pagenaud can do now then. Flat he goes through this left-hander as he'll swoop around this long swooping right-hander now then. Into the next left-hander he goes as he just comes off the turn, getting as close to the wall as possible, round the double left-hander, and now into the final corner they go as they go down the straight. And now into the final 2 turns goes Simon Pagenaud. Can he try and improve on his 4th place at the moment? Heading down the straight, Simon Pagenaud now then is going to cross the line. What can the Frenchman do on his next flying lap? Across the line goes Simon Pagenaud. Is it an improvement? And yes, it is. He goes up to 3rd in that lap. So into the top 3 goes Simon Pagenaud in that car. So we now look at Will Power, who's currently 6th at the moment in the Eldorado. Can he improve as well? As Eldorado still look for that elusive first win in IFMC IndyCar. Here comes Will Power now then, heading down the pit straight. Power now then is going to cross the line, and can he improve upon his 6th place? No, he can't. Remains 6th for the moment. Up to 16th goes Tony Kanaan, but still not great for him at this stage, as Dixon and Montoya are about to start their laps. Hinchcliffe is on improve at the moment. He's 200ths up on his personal best in the middle sector, as now he comes up towards the final 2 turns, but can he get back into the top 3, which was taken by Simon Pagenaud just a little bit earlier? Hinchcliffe now then heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes the mayor of Hinchtown. Hinchcliffe is going to cross the line. Will this be an improvement? And yes, it is, but he still remains in 4th, isn't able to get back that 3rd place. Up into 12th place goes Robert Wickens, so a slight improvement for him there. Then Graham Rahal is currently struggling down in 17th place, desperate to improve at the moment as he comes down towards the pit straight now. Then Rahal is going to cross the line. Can he improve on his 1 minute 17? Across the line he will go, and he can't. Remains 17th at the moment, so Rahal struggling around this track. Still 20th for Takuma Sato, despite improving. Up into 14th goes Pietro Fittipaldi, so a big improvement there. Jones, a big improvement for him. He goes up to 5th for that lap. Alonso goes up to 6th, so some big improvements coming the way at the moment. 15th for Marco Andretti, so improvement for him. As we now look at Scott Dixon, who's down in 9th place at the moment. Let's see what Dixon could do then on this lap. Is Dixon looking at an improvement at this stage? The man that currently lies in 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. Dixon now then is going to cross the line. What can the Kiwi manage? And he goes up to 6th, so a big improvement for Dixon. That's P6 for Scott Dixon. Only 19th for Juan Pablo Montoya, so he's struggling on the road courses, unlike the ovals last weekend at Texas Motor Speedway. And that's that then at the moment. So at the moment it is currently Joseph Newgarden who's still fastest, with Ryan Hunter race 2nd, and rounding out the top 3 is Simon Pagenaud at this stage of qualifying at the moment. But things can still change. We have specifically just under 20 minutes to go in this qualifying session to determine the grid for race 1 here at Belle Isle Park tomorrow. And so Montoya now then just going around those section of corners, and now up towards the next few corners he goes before he heads back into pit lane, as the Chevy powered Red Rose racing car will go around this long swooping right-hander. Alexander Rossi now then comes out on the track. He's currently 8th, so better qualifying position at the moment than what it was the last few weekends, where he struggled quite a lot. The man who won the first race back at Barber Motorsports Park, looking to try and add to that if he can during the course of this season. Now, as you can see, Rossi now then just going around these section of corners out on the racetrack, as Rossi just goes out of the corner now then, heading down towards the left-hander. He will soon go. And Rossi now then flicking the car flat out through the left-hander. And sorry for the drop of frame there. As Rossi just goes around the left-hander, trying to get as close to the wall as possible on the outside there then. As Rossi now then just flicks it in to the hairpin now then. Also on the track is defending champion Sebastian Bourdais, currently down in 11th, desperate to improve at this stage. You also have Gabby Chavez, Joseph Newgarden, Max Chilton, Ryan Hunter Ray, James Hinchcliffe, Simon Pagenaud, JR Hildebrand, and Helio Cashinero, as I mentioned, James Hinchcliffe, Simon Pagenaud, Tony Kanaan, Takuma Sato. Will Power will be expecting these guys to come out in a little bit. So we now get back to Rossi, who's just started a lap now then, as he just goes into turn 2 on the racetrack, as he now heads down towards turn 3 and 4 now then. Luckily he's not getting held up by traffic, so there is room to improve for Alexander Rossi. Around these sections of corners we now go, as Rossi just going around these section of corners, as you'll now soon approach the end of sector 1 in a little bit, which is around about here I think. As now Rossi, as mentioned, still looking for some time to improve in the car now then, heading in towards the flat out left-hander. He will soon go, and around the long swooping right-hander on the track, as Rossi desperate to improve at this stage, getting as close to the wall on the outside through the double left-hander, and up towards the hairpin now then goes Alexander Rossi, getting as close to the wall on the outside, as he will now approach the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Let's see what Alexander Rossi can do. And around the final corner and onto the pit straight then goes Alexander Rossi, and let's see what he's able to do then, this time by Rossi. He's going to cross the line, and can he improve? And no, he can't. Remains 8th at the moment. Only 200s off his best time so far. Power and Canaan about to start lap. Here's Sebastian Bourdais now then. Around the final 2 turns he goes. Let's see what Sebastian Bourdais can manage as he now goes down the pit straight. The defending champion now then. Can he improve upon his P11? Bourdais across the line. He will go. And he does. He goes up to 6th for that lap. A big improvement for Bourdais. So that's P6 for the defending champion. Sato starts the lap, as does Hinchcliffe. It's only P20 at the moment for Chavez. No improvement. So he's struggling at this stage as Passionot just started a lap. His current pole sitter, Joseph Newgarden. Can he improve on his current pole time at the moment? Newgarden round the final corner. And onto the pit straight he will now go. Newgarden is now going to cross the line. Can Newgarden improve on his current time? And he can't. He doesn't improve by nearly a tenth of a second. So he's still, at the moment, on his current best time that he did earlier to get him onto pole. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay now then, heading down the pit straight. Hunter-Reay will cross the line. Can he improve? And no, he can't. Remains 2nd at the moment. Isn't able to beat Newgarden at this stage. Here is championship leader J.R. Hildebrand. Can he find some time to improve? Across the line. And no, he can't. Remains 12th. At this stage of qualifying, as we now look at Will Power, who's in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment. Here comes the Eldorado driver. Can he improve? Power now then. Across the line he will go. And last season's runner-up, where will he emerge? He remains in 10th position. No improvement for him. As we now look at Tony Kanaan, who's crossed the line but remains 17th. Struggling around this Belle Isle Park at this stage. Still 21st for Sato, so effectively last. He's struggling around here. Still 4th for James Hinchcliffe. As we look at if anybody else is on a lap, which doesn't appear to be at this stage. So it is still Joseph Newgarden who tops the session, with Ryan Hunter-Reay 2nd, and of course Simon Pagenaud rounding out the top 3, with James Hinchcliffe not that far behind in 4th position, and I believe it is Ed Jones 5th, and then rounding off the top 6 is Sebastian Bourdais. So that's how that looks at this stage, as now Hinchcliffe just makes his way around through those section of corners, as does Simon Pagenaud, who is also coming back into the pits this time by. And Pagenaud now then currently in the top 3 at the moment, and so far looking to see within these last 14.5 minutes if he can try and challenge for pole position. As Pagenaud now then just goes around these section of corners into the hairpin. He will go as now he goes out on the track. Sorry, going back into the pits this time by. And so Pagenaud now then back in the pits he goes, as we wait for another set of cars to come out onto the racetrack. In fact, we've already got some in the form of Robert Wickens, who's just gone out on the track. So Wickens is currently, where is he at the moment? He's currently 13th, so he's just outside the top 10 at the moment, so looking to try and improve on that if he can. And so now up towards the flat left-hander he will go on the racetrack now then, around this long swooping right-hander, and then into these section of corners he will now go on the racetrack. And so now into the hairpin goes Robert Wickens, as he's about to start his next flying lap. Anybody else out there at the moment other than Wickens? Yes, his teammate Marco Andretti is out there, so adrenaline getting both of their guys out there at the same time. Also out there is Scott Dixon, Fernando Alonso, Pietro Fittipaldi, Juan Pablo Montoya. We're expecting Joseph Newgarden, J.R. Hildebrand, Ed Jones, Alexander Rossi, Graham Rahal, Gabby Chavez and Sebastian Bourdais to join these guys in a little bit. So let's get back to Robert Wickens, who's just started a lap as he just comes out of turn 2 there. Luckily nobody was coming out of the pits to hold him up, as Wickens sails down towards turn 3 on the racetrack now then. Up towards turn 3 goes Robert Wickens, as he just uses the curb on the outside there then, as he will now go into this left-hander, and now through the right he goes, approaches the end of sector 1, sorry, in a little bit. And Wickens now then down towards, sorry about this, I've got a sweet in my mouth. Sorry about that, that got stuck in my throat, that did. You heard me choke there. I'm okay, I'm not dying. Anyway, Wickens comes up towards the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Let's see what Robert Wickens can manage now then as he goes down the pit straight. Can he improve upon his 13th place? The adrenaline driver now then. He's going to cross the line. Is this going to be an improvement? It is. He goes up to 7th with that lap. So up to P7 goes Robert Wickens as Graham Rahal and Ed Jones and Sebastian Bourdais and Gabby Chavez and Joseph Newgarden about to start a lap. Here's Marco Andretti. Looks like a lot of cars may have impeded him on his lap, so this might be a lap ruined for Marco Andretti. He's got Alexander Rossi stuck behind him as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rossi's going to get held up on his next flying lap as his name just come out of the pits. Andretti now then, across the line. Can he still improve nonetheless? And no, he can't. Remains 15th at the moment. Rossi starts a lap. Dixon remains in 8th, so no improvement for him. Here's Fernando Alonso across the line, and he goes up to 8th, so only getting 1 place at the moment in this session. Here's Pietro Fittipaldi coming around the final 2 corners on the racetrack. And Fittipaldi now then is soon going to cross the line. And Fittipaldi across the line he will go, and he improves but remains 16th for the moment. Juan Pablo Montoya currently 19th. Is this an improvement for the Colombian? It isn't. He remains 19th for the moment. As we now look at Rahal, who's up on his current best in the middle sector. But can Rahal find some time to improve overall and maybe gain a few places as well? Rahal then round the final corner and onto the pit straight. He will now go on the racetrack. Rahal across the line he will go. This looks to be quite a good lap for Rahal. Across the line he goes, and only up to 17th. So I was expecting a little bit better there, but only gaining up to 17th place at the moment is Graham Rahal. Still 5th is Ed Jones. Still 6th for Sebastian Bourdais. Here comes Gabby Chavez now then. Chavez is going to cross the line and remains 20th. He's still struggling around this track as Newgarden finishes his final flying lap and doesn't improve. Remains on a 1 minute 16.636. He's still currently top of the moment. Rossi got held up. Remains in 10th. Still 13th for J.R. Hildebrand. At this stage, the current championship leader currently outside the top 10 at the moment. It is still Joseph Newgarden fastest, with Ryan Hunter-Reay second and Simon Pagenaud rounding off the top 3 at the moment. Target Andy Graham looking like they're going to get the first pole of the season, and the first pole with Chevy Power for them. And I don't know if they've ever taken pole before. I'm trying to work that out in my head if they've ever taken pole position before in their IFMC IndyCar career. They've never taken a victory. I know that's for sure. They've not. They're still yet to taste the. Oh yeah, they have. Sorry, they have with Ed Carpenter last year. Ed Jones still yet to get a victory at the moment. That was with Honda Power, of course. They now have Chevrolet for this season after a bit of a deal between them and Martini Energia, which sees Martini now with Honda and Target Andy Graham with Chevrolet. As now Newgarden goes into the pits this time by. So there you have it then, as Newgarden goes back into the pits. Had to wait a bit as Chavez was going back in. As now we look at Helio Castroneves, is now currently out on the track. Currently down in 12th place, so Castroneves in his remaining 8 minutes still needing to find some time to try and see if he can get anywhere close to Bourdais, his teammate, who's currently up in 6th place at the moment, currently on row 3 on the grid. As Castroneves now then goes into the double left-hander on the track. As now he will go around the final corner and onto the straight will go Castroneves, as he will soon approach the final 2 corners on the racetrack. Now then, Castroneves about to start his next flying lap as he gets close to the wall on the outside. Also on the track we have Max Chilton, who's currently 14th at this stage. Ryan Hunter-Reay still looking to try and take pole off Joseph Newgarden if he can. Tony Kanaan, Helio Castroneves, Fernando Alonso, Takuma Sato, Simon Pagenaud, Pietro Fittipaldi, Marco Andretti, Robert Wickens, Scott Dixon and James Hinchcliffe and Will Power will be expected to come out in a little bit. So let's get back to Helio Castroneves, if we can try and find him on the track. And here he is. Castroneves now then going around the left-hander, getting close to the wall on the outside as he now makes his way around through these section of corners, heading down the little straight he goes before approaching the flat out through corner section of corners before slowing all the way down towards a near 90 degree left-hander before then going into the double left-handers and then into the hairpin and then into the final 2 corners as well. Castroneves now then just going around the section of corners. Into the hairpin he goes, heading down towards the final 2 corners. He's already at this point past sector 2 on the racetrack. Into the final 2 turns goes Helio Castroneves. Can he find some time to improve as he goes down the pit straight? Castroneves is going to cross the line. Can the Brazilian improve on his 1 minute 16.993? Across the line he will go, and he doesn't. He remains 12th with that lap, so a bit of work to do for Castroneves tomorrow as Alonso and Sato start a lap, as do Pagenaud and Wickens and Power and Andretti and Dixon. As we now look at Chilton, who's 2 tenths down on his personal best in the middle sector. Looks like Hinchcliffe behind him had a part to play in that. Into the final 2 turns then goes Max Chilton, and let's see if he can find some miracle to try and improve in the last sector, as now Hinchcliffe tries to find a way past him down the straight, as Chilton says no to that. Chilton across the line, he will go, and he does not improve, remains in 14th position as Hinchcliffe looks like he's going to get held up on his final flying lap, it appears. Fittipaldi about to start a lap. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay. Can he beat Joseph Newgarden off pole? And no, he can't, remains second with that lap. Here comes Tony Kanaan. Can he improve on his 18th place? The Brazilian veteran will now cross the line, and this is an improvement, and no it ain't. He remains 18th, so a lot of work to do for Kanaan tomorrow as Castroneves gets back into the pits. Here's Fernando Alonso, currently 8th at the moment. Can the Spaniard find some time to improve? As we apologise again for the drop of frames, as now Fernando Alonso heads down the straight. Can Alonso improve on his current fastest time? Alonso across the line he goes, and he does, but remains in 8th position. So that's that for his final flying lap. Still 21st for Sato despite improving, so effectively last for him in this session because of Rosenquist's qualifying ban. Still 3rd for Simon Pagenaud. Here comes Robert Wickens across the line. He goes on his final flying lap and he remains in 7th position. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Will Power currently outside the top 10 and remains 11th, so a bit of work to do for Power tomorrow. Marco Andretti remains 15th with that lap, as we now look at Dixon, who remains 9th, still 4th for James Hinchcliffe at the moment. As now we look at Pietro Fittipaldi, he's going down the pit straight, and Fittipaldi will cross the line, remains in 16th place, no improvement for him, so a bit of work to do for him tomorrow as well. As we wait and see if there'll be some more cars coming out. Yes, Graham Rahal coming out to do his final flying lap. Is there a chance we could finish maybe a few minutes or a few seconds early? We'll wait and see, as now Rahal goes out on the track, currently down in 17th place and desperate for an improvement if he can, as he now makes his way down towards turn 3 on the racetrack. Through the corner he goes, as he will now go around turn 4 and then into turn 5 and 6 will soon go Graham Rahal as he prepares to start his final flying lap now then, as Alonso goes back in. So not really much of a rush for anybody else anymore to go back into the pits, unless Rahal is actually the last person to do a final flying lap as he goes around those section of corners. No, we've got somebody else in the form of who's this coming out? Actually, he's having to wait for somebody, and that's Montoya who's going out. Ed Jones is the guy coming out as well, as is Gabby Chavez as well. As 2 cars go back into the pits, we'll be expecting Rossi and Borley as well. So still there's a few cars left to do laps. As now Rahal goes around the final corner and onto the pit straight he will now go. As now Rahal starts his lap now then into turns 1 and 2 on the racetrack. Down then goes Graham Rahal, as he will now go down towards turn 3 on the racetrack. Luckily he didn't get held up that time by anybody coming out of the pits. Through turn 3 and now into turn 4 will go Graham Rahal, as now he goes around the left-hander and now into the next right-hander will go Rahal on the track. As now he goes down towards the quick left-hander on the racetrack, he'll soon go. And let's see what Rahal can do. Flat through the left-hander he goes, as he now swoops through the right-hander, and now into the left goes Graham Rahal. As now he goes around the double left-hander and now into the hairpin goes Graham Rahal on the racetrack. Let's see if he can try and improve upon his 17th place as he now approaches the final 2 turns on the racetrack. Now then, let's see what Rahal can do, as he will soon cross the line. And can he improve upon his 17th place? Across the line goes Rahal, and he can't, remains 17th. So a lot of work to do for him tomorrow, it must be said, as Rossi and Bourdais are about to start laps. Montoya's on a lap, he's 16 thousandths up on his personal best in the first sector there, as now he goes down towards the left-hander on the racetrack. So he's got one of the Target Andy Graham racing cars behind him. Sorry for the drop of frames. As now Montoya swoops through the right-hander now, then heading in towards the double left-hander on the track now. Then Montoya into the final corner and up towards the final 2. That wasn't the final corner, that was the hairpin. It will soon be approaching the final 2 corners a little bit. I do apologise for the drop of frames. Just over a minute to go now then in this session. Now then, Montoya we ride on board with in the cockpit is now going to cross the line. Let's see, can Montoya improve on his current time, which is good enough for 19th at the moment? He can't. He remains 19th with that lap, as it's still 5th for Ed Jones, so a top 5 start for him. Chavez goes up to 19th, so only gaining 1 place, but still a lot of work to do for him tomorrow. As we now look at Rossi, who's currently in the cusp of the top 10, currently on a lap at the moment, looking to see if he could try and find some more time to improve at the moment, as he now goes around the double left-handers into the hairpin. Then goes Alexander Rossi, as 28 seconds remain on the clock, as now into the final 2 corners go Alexander Rossi, heading down the straight before approaching the start-finish line. Can Rossi improve on his 10th place now? Then Rossi is going to cross the line, and no, he can't. He remains 10th with that lap with 7 seconds to spare. Here's Bourdais on his final flying lap. It doesn't look like he's going to be improving. 2 seconds left. 1-0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Bourdais wasn't doing a very good personal best in the middle sector, but can he find some time in the last sector to try and perform a miracle? Bourdais heads down the pit straight. Can he improve upon his 6th place at the moment? Bourdais across the line he goes, and the defending champion remains in 6th. No improvement for him, but didn't lose too much time in that last sector, it must be said. And that, I think, is going to do it. So there you have it then. After all of that, it is Joseph Newgarden who takes pole position here at Belle Isle Park for race 1. And a very good lap for Joseph Newgarden, and a fully deserved pole position for the man that moved to Target Andy Graham Racing after being with Martini Energia last season and getting 2 wins. Can he try and get his first victory with Target Andy Graham tomorrow at race 1 here at Belle Isle Park? We'll wait and see, as we now wait for the command to say for Rossi to go into the pits, to then say qualifying over, as Rossi now comes into the pits, which he does. So there you have it to confirm Joseph Newgarden is on pole position for race 1 tomorrow here at Belle Isle Park in Detroit, Michigan. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the grid for race 1 tomorrow here at Belle Isle Park. It is Joseph Newgarden on pole position with Ryan Hunter-Reay 2nd, Simon Pagenaud 3rd, James Hinchcliffe 4th, Ed Jones in 5th, followed by Sebastian Bourdais 6th, Robert Wickens 7th, Fernando Alonso in 8th, with Scott Dixon 9th, Alexander Rossi 10th, Will Power 11th, Helio Castroneves 12th, JL Hildebrand 13th, with Max Chilton in 14th. And if you scroll down the rest of the field, it is Marco Andretti 15th, Pietro Fittipaldi in 16th position, followed by Graham Rahal 17th, and then it is Tony Kanaan 18th, Gabby Chavez in 19th, Juan Pablo Montoya 20th, Takuma Sato disappointed with 21st, and due to his qualifying ban, Felix Rosenquist is 22nd and last. So there you have it then, guys. That is the grid for race 1 tomorrow here at Belle Isle Park. It's looking to be a very interesting race 1 indeed, and who will pick up the first 50 points of the weekend. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you enjoyed it, and that is it for today's live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at 1 PM BST for race 1 here at Belle Isle Park in Detroit, Michigan for round 5 of the championship. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for race 1 here at Belle Isle Park. Until then, take care.